With Bitcoin now 1 week into its battle to hold above $90,000 per coin, some of the most mind-blowing charts have just been blasted all over my computer screen. And let's just say that's not the only thing that's about to come onto my laptop. So if you understand that before things can get really big, they have to start off a little less big, hit that like and subscribe. Get signed up with Femex below, no KYC or VPN required if you use my link to sign up below. And without any further ado, the price of Bitcoin, as we just discussed, has now officially held above 90,000 US dollars per coin for a week. For the first time since getting rejected below it all the way back about 2 months ago, as we were struggling on this 50-day moving average, or 21-day moving average, as the bulls were getting diddled big time over the last couple of months. And now, after, again, rising from the ashes, concretely getting above this trend line for the first time since beginning it, all the way back at the beginning of 2025, in January of 2025, things aren't just big, they're about to get really big. If you've been in the markets, you know that things are always quietest before the bust, before things really start going up. It's always very quiet. And right now, as I'm looking at the screens, Bitcoin's like down 1% or so. It's relatively flat for the day. We are going to look at some of these other charts, right? The stock market, the SPX. We can look at the DXY, which has been continuing to just plummet big time. MicroStrategy actually looking like it's on the verge of a breakout. So many big things. But there's something even bigger that I want to take a look at in this video. And one of those things is this: Bitcoin's super cycle. Bitcoin is tracking the legendary Livermore accumulation cylinder. You might be reading that thinking, that sounds like the guy just made it up, right? That's exactly what I thought. And technically, I mean, at the end of the day, all of these names for these patterns, some guy just did make them up, right? They have to get made up. But anyway, it says here we're at stage 7, and stage 8 is where the real gainers begin. Mass adoption, sovereign accumulation, institutional FOMO, just the beginning. On this chart showing, Bitcoin busting all the way up to potentially at its highest, near $500,000 per coin this cycle, before then plummeting down. And I actually did want to make sure this was even, because technical analysis is pretty made up to begin with. But yeah, I looked it up, Livermore's speculative chart. It is like a pattern, accumulation cylinder with a widening mouth. That's not the only thing that's widening when we get these gains. But then also, then there's the breakout. The breakout, and then kind of that sell-off before the short. And so this is big. I personally think this is kind of the trajectory anyway. Do I think we're going to get a dump? Guys, of course, we're going to get a dump at some point. We always get dumps. The point is, Bitcoin keeps going up over time. That's all that really matters. And specifically as well, this I think is completely gigantic. The Fed is playing with fire. A massive collapse in consumer expectations for the economy in the next 6 months, which then sends us back to March 2009 lows, well below the panic lows. Extreme data, much lower rates, and USD printing are needed to offset fiscal austerity. Basically, this fiat debasement equals massive gains for Bitcoin. This is a very interesting scenario, right? Basically, I think this is where we're heading in terms of there's going to be money printing very soon. There's going to be rates that need to be lowered very soon. And it's going to be the perfect storm for Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has already done well the last 2 years, right? If we go back 2 years, it was like $30,000. Now, it even went all the way down to 15,000. Now it's like right off of 100,000, right around 90,000. Overall, not bad. Altcoins obviously are not doing the best, but Bitcoin has done really well over the last 2 years. But Bitcoin is going to do so much better when we start seeing monetary policy change, specifically when we see fiat continue to get debased, when we see money printing, and all of that is right around the corner. We have so many bullish catalysts that can send Bitcoin way higher. And I think that's one of the most exciting things, is because we're waiting for like a couple of things, any of them, if they happen, Bitcoin is going way higher. And not only do I think they're all going to happen, I think that they're all going to happen rather quickly and around the same time. I think it's going to be a very slippery slope that once the trigger officially clicks and once things really get off, things are just going to get going and not stop for a while. It's just going to be bullish mode times infinity and beyond. We also see the bull market of the century is coming. Absolutely. We see the current market. Look at this. This is compared to previous cycles. In orange is where we are now. We have not really seen any true liftoff yet. And we're right around the time. Not only that, we're actually past the time where we should be expecting this market to go crazy. Actually, think about it this way. This is a really good analogy or metaphor. I don't know the difference actually, but that I just came up with. If you know how sometimes like volcanoes will erupt every 1, 200, 300,000 years. So let's say there's historical data that a specific volcano erupts every 500,000 years. And what if we knew that we were tracking a volcano and the last time it had erupted was 500,000 years ago, and the time before that it was about 1 million years ago, and then it was 1.5 million, so every 500,000 years. What if we found out that right now it hadn't erupted in 600,000 years, meaning it's overdue? Wouldn't you start thinking, holy cow, this thing's gonna bust soon? Well, that's exactly how you should be looking at Bitcoin right now. It's overdue. Okay. Wow. That was one of the most beautiful things I've actually ever heard. Unbelievable. The bust is coming. We also see that Bitcoin will see new all-time highs soon. Mark this tweet, according to Crypto Caesar. Absolutely. I think it's a falling wedge. Again, however you want to do it, whether you want to draw this guy, this thing, or you want to talk about this one, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's so much bullish, constructive price action happening. I think we're about to go to infinity and beyond, like Buzz Lightyear from the Buzz Lightyear movies. And I don't even think that that's the end. I think it's just the beginning. Now, clearly, Bitcoin and the stock market over the last week or so has been kind of sideways. But after Bitcoin made this pretty big move from, if we look, the lows at about 74,000 up to about 94,000, a $20,000 pump, after it has made those moves in the last couple of weeks, is it bad that we're trading sideways right here? No, it's amazing. It's good. It's good that we're actually trying to hold this as support. Maybe we actually have to come back and maybe test 90,000 again. Maybe we will get a little bit of a drop over the next couple of days, but that is exactly actually what we need too. I mean, this would be a retest of this level, and then slightly above it. Also right here, these were the lows that we saw back for months and months towards the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. These were the lows, right? We made this move up. We traded sideways here with this being the low. We fell below the low. Now we're above it. But if we keep this, if we have a retest again and confirm that as support, that'll be further green light to move to the upside. So I don't know if we will get a dump, but if we do, we'd look for 90,000 to hold, and that would be not only bullish but giga bullish. So everything looks good on that front as well. Did we get the tips to touch here? Let me move this line. Okay, the tips have absolutely touched for sure on the RSI. They're about to on the MACD as well. It takes a little bit longer for the MACD. Usually the RSI does it first in all of these examples, and then the MACD follows. Giga bullishly big. So that's on the weekly chart as well. All this momentum looks very good on a weekly chart. Could we maybe cool down on a daily chart? Potentially, maybe as I just said, maybe we have like that little bit of a back test. But the banana zone is loading, and that's the point. The money supply is about to go giga bone mode. And if you're new to the channel, what that means is absolutely extremely giga bone mode means basically complete nut mode, which also translates to absolutely infinity and beyond. But if I would summarize it, pumpy. That would be the easiest way for me to say it. Again, SPX is right now below its 1 week 50 SMA. Getting above that would be good for that. We're in this mode, and I think that ultimately the next major move, I think we have a very clear trend, a very clear defined trend on the weekly chart. In fact, it cannot get more clear. This is a weekly chart. Right here is back November of 2022. This trend has been to the upside, okay? And yes, you get pullbacks along the way, but we are just coming off of one. Look at this. I like try to not get just soaked looking at this chart. If you're not getting soaked to look at this chart, like go get tested. Maybe, you could consider testosterone replacement therapy, or if you're a woman, you could, I don't know where I'm going with this. Everything looks good. In fact, I'm not only am I bullish, I'm actually like giga insanely big bullish, but also even more bullish than you could ever imagine. But get signed up to FEMX below for my Bitcoin altcoins or trade. No KYC or VPN required if you use my link below.